කවුරු සාදුකාරයක් පවත්වන්න. සාදු සාදු සාදු. නමස්කාරය කියන්න සිල් සමාදන් වෙන්න. බුද්ධං සරණං ගච්ඡාමි. ධම්මං සරණං ගච්ඡාමි. සංඝං සරණං ගච්ඡාමි. ဒ ුතියම්පි බුද්ධං සරණං ගච්ඡාමි. ဒ ුතියම්පි ධම්මං සරණං ගච්ඡාමි. ဒ ුතියම්පි සංඝං සරණං ගච්ඡාමි. තතියම්පි බුද්ධං සරණං ගච්ඡාමි. තතියම්පි ධම්මං සරණං ගච්ඡාමි. තතියම්පි සංඝං සරණං ගච්ඡාමි. සරණාගමනං සම්පුන්නං පාණාතිපාතා වේරමණී සික්ඛාපදං සමාදියාමි. අදින්නාදානා වේරමණී සික්ඛාපදං සමාදියාමි. කාමේසු මිච්ඡාචාරා වේරමණී සික්ඛාපදං සමාදියාමි. මුසාවාදා වේරමණී සික්ඛාපදං සමාදියාමි. සුරාමේරය මජ්ජපමා දට්ඨානා වේරමණී සික්ඛාපදං සමාදියාමි. උතුම් තිසරණ සහිත වූ පංචශීලය මේ ජීවිතයේ යහපත පිණිසද පරලොව සුගතිය පිණිසද නිවන් අවබෝධය පිණිසද උපකාර වේවා. තිසරණේන සද්ධින් පංචශීලං ධම්මං සාධුකං සුරක්ෂිතං කତ୍වා අප්පමාදේන සම්පාදේ තබ්බං. සියලු දෙනාටම තෙරුවන් සරණයි. පින්වත් දයාබර දූ පුතාලා සෑම සියලු දෙනාම අදත් සත්පියුම් ළමා දහම් වැඩසටහනට එකතු වෙලා අද දවසත් හැම දෙනාගේම ජීවිත සිහිය පුරුදු කර ගනිමින් ධර්මයේ ඉගෙන ගනිමින් ජීවිතයට අර්ථවත් වූ වටිනා දහම් කරුණු ඉගෙනගෙන පිනෙන් ගත කරන්න තමයි අද මේ සැන්දෑ මොහොතේ අපි එකතු වුණේ. ඉතින් ඒ නිසා හැම දිනාම අදිෂ්ඨාන කරගන්නට ඕනි අද දවස පැයකමාරක් කාලයක් ඉවර වෙනකම්ම කලින් වතාවට වඩා හොඳට සිහිය පිහිටුවීමේ කටයුතු අපි සිද්ධ කරගන්නවා. ඇවිදීමේදී, ඉඳගෙන සිටීමේදී, හිටගෙන සිටීමේදී කියන මේ අවස්ථා තුනේදීම හොඳට සිහිය පුරුදු කරගන්නවා. වටපිට බලන්නේ, උඩ බිම බලන්නේ. අද භාවනා කරනකොට ඇස් හරින්නේ නැහැ. කලින්ට වැඩිය දැන් අපිට පළපුරුද්ද තියෙනවා නේද? ඒ නිසා අද අපිට පුළුවන් වෙනදටත් වැඩිය හොඳට භාවනා කරන්න. ඒ නිසා අද භාවනා කරාට පස්සේ ඔයගලන්ට දැන් අවාර 3ක් නේද සම්පූර්ණ වෙන්නේ. ඊට පස්සේ ඔයගලන්ට පුළුවන් මේ භාවනාවේ අත්දැකීම් බෙදා ගන්න. ඒ නිසා අපි අහනවා ඔයගලන් මේ භාවනා කරාට පස්සේ ඔයගලන්ගේ මොනවද ඔයගලන්ට හිතෙන්නේ? භාවනා කරද්දී ඔයගලන්ට මොනවද දැනෙන්නේ හිතෙන්නේ? ඊට පස්සේ භාවනා කරලා ගෙවල් වලට ගිහිල්ලා සිහිය පිහිටවන්න පුළුවන්ද? ඒ සිහිය පිහිටවන අවස්ථාවලිය ඔයගලන්ට මොනවද දැනෙන්නේ සහ ජීවිතේ වෙනස්කම් මොනවද තේරෙන්නේ? අන්න ඒ වගේ කාරණා. ඒ නිසා හැම දිනාම අපි පළවෙනියටම ආවිල්ලා මහන්සි නැති නිසා භාවනා කරන්නට සක්මන් භාවනාවට කලින් අපි පරියංක භාවනාව සඳහා යොමු වෙමු. මොකද සක්මන් කරන්න ගියොත් ආපහු ටිකක් ඉඩ මදි හින්දා හිත කලබල වෙන්න ඉඩ තියෙන නිසා. ඒ හින්දා හැමෝම පහසු විදිහකට වාඩි වෙන්න. පොත්පත් තියෙනවා නම් ටිකක් ඈතින් තියාගන්නකො කකුල් වල එහෙම වදින්න නැති වෙන්න. ඔයගලන්ට ඉඳ ගන්න පුළුවන් පහසු විදිහකට වාඩි වෙන්න. වැඩි දඟලන්නේ නැතිව. හොඳයි. දැන් පහසු විදිහකට වාඩි වුණා. දැන් ඔයගලන් ඉඳගෙන ඉන්නේ නේද? ඇවිදිමින් ඉන්නව නෙවෙයි, හිටගෙන ඉන්නව නෙවෙයි, නිදාගෙන ඉන්නවත් නෙවෙයි ඉඳගෙනයි ඉන්නේ. ඒ නිසා දැන් මං මෙතන ඉඳගෙනයි ඉන්නේ කියලා හැමෝම දැනගන්න ඕනේ. ඒක දැනගන්න හොඳම දේ තමයි ඇස් වහගෙන ඔයගලන් ඔය ඉඳගෙන ඉන්න ඉරියව්වට හිත යොමු කරන්න. ඔයගලන් ඉඳගෙන ඉන්න එක කොහොමද දැනෙන්නේ කියලා ඇස් වහගෙන බලන්න. දැන් ඇස් වහගන්නකෝ. ඇස් වහගෙන හිස මුදුනේ ඉඳලා ඔළුවේ උඩ ඉඳලා කකුල් දෙකට යනකම් ඔයගලන් අත් දෙක තියාගෙන ඉන්නේ කොහොමද? කකුල් තියාගෙන ඉන්නේ කොහොමද කියලා ඔයගලන් හිතෙන් දකින්න.
working with the awareness of your respiration, developing your mindfulness of the breath, natural breath, normal breath, as it comes in naturally, as it goes out naturally. You have noticed your mind is a wild mind, wandering, and you are now training it. You are calming it, aware of the breath, aware of the breath. You find your mind is getting calmed down. The scattered mind gets concentrated. The scattered mind is a weak mind. When it gets concentrated, it becomes very strong. Then you can face all the problems of your life because you are mentally strong. If you are mentally weak, then you can't face your problems. You can't even study properly. The mind keeps on wandering here, there. Now as it becomes more and more concentrated, you will notice your memory becomes sharper and sharper. Your understanding of the subject becomes clearer and clearer. Your capacity to work increases. You get better results. And you are happier to get the mind concentrated. One can use any object, the breath, as the object. Why? One obvious reason is that the breath is always with you. From the time you have taken birth, you have been breathing in, breathing out, breathing in, breathing out, asleep or awakened, sitting or standing, walking or lying down, eating or drinking. Another reason, it is truth. You don't imagine the breath. You are actually feeling it. You are with the reality of this moment. And if you develop this faculty to remain with the reality of the moment, you will find that you have started learning a happy way of life, art of living. If all the time the mind keeps on wandering in the past, wandering in the future, then you can't work properly. Another very important reason, it is that the breath is strongly related to your mind. And you have to make a thorough investigation of your mind. You will notice that whenever your mind becomes disturbed, the breath also becomes disturbed. The breath becomes slightly hard or fast, heavy. And when the mind is again calm, the breath becomes calm. When you are observing the natural breath, you are with the truth. You are with the truth. You don't disturb the natural flow of the breath. You don't disturb the truth that manifests itself from moment to moment, from moment to moment. You are just aware, just aware, just aware. And this will help you to go to the deeper levels of the mind and understand why the mind gets disturbed, what happens, how it happens, and how we can purify the mind. We can wash away the cause of the agitation of the mind, the negativities of the mind. This is very important reason why you are asked to observe pure breath, nothing but breath, as it is, as it is. Now keeping this in mind, start working. Start working. Sit comfortably in any posture that keeps you comfortable. Keep your back and your neck straight. Straight, but not tight. Relaxed. Like the shirt on the hanger, just straight. Eyes closed, gently closed. If you open your eyes, your mind is bound to get distracted. So keep your eyes gently closed. During meditation, always keep your eyes gently closed. Those who wear spectacles should take off the spectacles. When the eyes are closed, there is no purpose of wearing the spectacles. Keep your mouth also gently closed, because you have to breathe through the nostrils and not through the mouth. And entire attention on the area at the entrance of the nostrils. Always remaining aware of the incoming breath, the outgoing breath, as it is. If it is long, it is long. If it is short, it is short. Just remain aware. Do nothing. Don't make it a breathing exercise. Don't try to control the breath. As it is. As it is. Observing the breath, suddenly the mind will wander away. Just bring it back. It has wandered away. Old habit of the mind is to wander away. Now your job is to bring it back. Bring it back on the awareness of respiration. Again you're aware of respiration. Again suddenly it wanders away. You realize it has wandered away. Bring it back. Like this you have to work very patiently, persistently, continuously. You are bound to be successful. Continue to work. Continue to work.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. දැන් කලබල වෙන්නේ නැතුව ඕමම හිටගන්න. සිහියෙන් හිටගන්න. දැන් ඉඳගෙන ඉන්නකොට දැනෙන දේවල් මොනවද? හිරි වැටිලාද, කකුල් කැක්කුමද? ඒවා දිහා සිහියෙන් හිටගන්න. ඒක තැන හිටගන්න. දැන් හිටගෙන කකුල් දෙකට හිත යොමු කරන්න. ඇස් වහන්න ඕනි නෑ. ඒ ඉඳගෙන ඉන්නකොට තිබුණ කැක්කුමට දැන් මොකද වෙන්නේ කියලා හිත යොමු කරන්න. ඔයගලන් ඉඳගෙන ඉන්නකොට කකුල් වල කැක්කුම් තිබුණා නේද? කකුල් රෙදුණා නේද? හිරි වැටුණා, රිදුණා. දැන් ඒකට මොකද වෙන්නේ කියලා ටික වෙලාවක් බලාගෙන ඉන්න. ඒ බලන් ඉන්න අතරේ අර කකුල් වලට මොකද වුනේ කියලා සිහිය යොමු කරන ගමන්ම මේක බලන්න.
Childhood is a time of discovery. Every moment can bring a new experience. Every day can be an exploration into the unknown, full of promise and of danger. It is a time to start learning about life and how to live it. But for children today, learning about life is harder than ever before. The world is changing so rapidly. All too easily they may feel baffled or confused. All too often they may lose their sense of direction. There is a compass children can learn to use, and with it they can find their way through life. That compass is called Vipassana meditation. Vipassana means seeing things as they really are, in their true nature. It is an ancient meditation technique discovered 25 centuries ago in India by a man known as the Buddha. In modern times, Vipassana has been taught by the late Sayagyi Uba King of Burma and his pupil S.N. Goenka of India. Under Mr. Goenka's guidance, over 40 centers around the world now offer 10-day Vipassana courses for adults. Short courses designed especially for children are given in many of these centers in Western and Asian countries. Children come to learn meditation with many of the same aims and hopes as adults. Some hope to become nicer to be around. Others wish to be able to deal with stressful situations or to become more self-confident. Children arrive at the center on the afternoon of the day the course starts. They settle into their rooms, have their evening meal, and then attend an orientation meeting.
Dans un centre de méditation, il y a des règles de vie à observer pour deux raisons. Pour nous aider à méditer.
In this meeting, they are told about the layout of the center, the schedule, and the basic rules they will have to follow during the next 3 days.
Une autre règle de vie, alors très importante aussi pour ne pas troubler l'atmosphère du centre.
Soon after the meeting, the children enter the meditation hall, where they meet the teachers and receive beginning instructions. First, they promise to follow a code of moral conduct during their time at the center. That is, to avoid any words or actions that could harm others and make their own minds agitated. This is a key part of the technique. It helps the children become calm and quiet enough to be able to look within. Next, they start meditating by learning the technique of anapana, awareness of breathing. The children are asked to close their eyes and try to remain aware of the natural breath entering and leaving the nostrils. This is a simple way to focus and calm the mind. But simple as it is, it can be surprisingly hard. The mind keeps slipping away to memories, fantasies, fears, hopes, or sometimes to sleep. The task is to keep bringing the mind back to the chosen object until gradually it starts to stay, to become concentrated. Naturally, that does not happen all at once. It takes time and repeated effort. Next morning, they wake up to a full and busy schedule of activities. They meditate for periods of half an hour at a time. Afterwards, they divide into groups and discuss their experiences with a counselor on hand to answer questions, clear up confusions, and give guidance.
Who thought about what we were going to have for breakfast? We thought it would be very nice still to be back in bed. So the mind has all these tricks. It's like a naughty little monkey. It's our job in meditating to calm this monkey down. Always keep your eyes closed. If you open your eyes, the mind will immediately get distracted. Be aware of every breath that's going in and every breath that's coming out.
මට්ට කුණ්ඩලි හරි
Happiness follows the doer of good. This is the story of Matta Kundali. While residing at the ඩසටහන monastery in Savatthi, the Buddha spoke this verse with reference to Matta Kundali, a young Brahmin. Matta Kundali was a young Brahmin whose father, Adinna Pubbaka, was very miserly and never gave anything in charity. Even the gold ornaments for his only son were made by himself to save payment for workmanship. When his son fell ill, no physician was consulted until it was too late. When he realized that his son was dying, he had the youth carried outside onto the veranda so that people coming to his house would not see his possessions. On that morning, the Buddha, arising early from his deep meditation of compassion, saw, in his net of knowledge, Matta Kundali lying on the veranda. So when entering Savatthi for alms food with his disciples, the Buddha stood near the door of the Brahmin Adinna Pubbaka. The Buddha sent forth a ray of light to attract the attention of the youth who was facing the interior of the house. The youth saw the Buddha, and as he was very weak, he could only profess his faith mentally. But that was enough. When he passed away, with his heart in devotion to the Buddha, he was reborn in the Tavantissa celestial world. From his celestial abode, the young Matta Kundali, seeing his father mourning over him at the cemetery, rebirth in Taoism's world and also urged him to approach and invite the Buddha to a meeting. At the house of Adinna Pubaka, the question of whether one could or could not be reborn in a celestial world simply by mentally professing profound faith in the Buddha, without giving in charity or observing in the moral precepts, was brought up. So the Buddha invited Mata Kundali to appear in person. Mata Kundali then appeared in his celestial ornaments and told them about his rebirth in the Taoist world. Only then the listeners became convinced that the son of the Brahmin Adina Pubaka, by simply devoting his mind to the Buddha, had attained much glory. How we experience our circumstances depends on the way we interpret them. If we interpret them in the wrong way, we experience suffering. If we interpret them in the right way, we experience happiness. In other words, our happiness or unhappiness depends on the way we think. Thought also creates circumstances in a futuristic sense. If we harbor ill will and speak or act with ill will, people will begin to hate us. We will be punished by society and the law. After death, we will also be reborn in a realm of suffering. Here, thought refers to karma or action, and experience refers to vipaka, which is consequences. The message finally conveyed by the pair of verses is think wrong and suffer, think right and be happy. This pair of verses was spoken by the Buddha to show the inevitable consequence of vipaka, of good and evil thought, karma. Man reaps what he has sown, both in the past and in the present. What he sows now, he reaps in the present and in the future. Man himself is responsible for his own happiness and misery. He creates his own hell and heaven. He is the architect of his own fate. What makes him, he can unmake. Buddhism teaches the way to escape from suffering by understanding and using the law of cause and effect. Buddhism is a very realistic and optimistic. Instead of blindly depending on unknown supernatural powers, hoping for happiness, Buddhism finds the true way to happiness realistically.
සාදුකාරයක් දෙමු. සාධු සාධු සාධු. තේරුණා නේද කතාව? මට්ට කුණ්ඩලී දිව්‍ය පුත්‍රයාගේ කතාව. ගිය සතියේ අපි කතා වුණා චක්කුපාල මහරහතන් වහන්සේගේ කතාව නේද? චක්කුපාල මහරහතන් වහන්සේගේ කතාවේදී පව් කරොත් එහෙම පව් වල විපාක කොහොමද ලැබෙන්නේ කියලා කතා කරා. අද කතා කරනවා පින් කරොත් පිනෙහි සැප විපාක කොහොමද ලැබෙන්නේ කියන කාරණය නේද? හොඳයි. දැන් අපි මේ ගාථාව අපි ඔක්කොම එකවර සජ්ජායනා කරමු. අපිත් එක්කම මේ ගාථාව සජ්ජායනා කරමු යඳගෙන. සාධු 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 මනෝ පුබ්බංගමා ධම්මා මනෝ සෙට්ඨා මනෝමයා මනසාචේ පසන්නේන භාසතිවා කරෝතිවා තත්හෝනං සුඛමන් වේති ඡායාව අනපායිනී. ආය පාරක් කියමු. මනෝ පුබ්බංගමා ධම්මා මනෝ සෙට්ඨා මනෝමයා මනසාචේ පසන්නේන භාසතිවා කරෝතිවා තත්හෝනං සුඛමන් වේති ඡායාව අනපායිනී. සාධු සාධු සාධු. ගිය සතියේ ගාථාව කාට හරි පාඩන්න පොත බලාගෙන කියන්න පුළුවන්. කියන්න බලන්න පොත බලාගෙන. කියන්න බලන්න. මනෝ පුබ්බංගම. පුළුවන්. චක්කංව. ඒකත් අපි කියවමුද පොත බලාගෙන? ගිය සතියේ ගාතාවත් අපි පොත බලාගෙන කියමුද? කියමු. මනෝ පුබ්බංගමා ධම්මා මනෝ සෙට්ඨා මනෝමයා මනසාචේ පදුට්ඨේන භාසතිවා කරෝතිවා තතෝනං දුක්ඛමන් වේති චක්ඛං වහතෝ පදං. අද ගාථාවේ තියෙන පද පේලි දෙකක් විතර නේද වෙනස් වෙලා තියෙන්නේ. ඒකේ කියනවා මනෝ පුබ්බංගමා ධම්මා මනෝ සෙට්ඨා මනෝමය සමානයි. මනසාචේ පදුට්ඨේන. අද ඒකේ කියනවා මනසාචේ පසන්නේන. ඊළඟට භාසතිවා කරෝතිවා තතෝනං දුක්ඛමන් වේති. මේකේ කියනවා තතෝනං සුඛමන් වේති. අරක කිව්වා චක්ඛං වහතෝ පදං. මේකේ කියනවා ඡායාව අනපායිනි. අන්න ඒ විදිහට කියවන්න නිතර කියවන්න ගාථා. කියවනකොට තමයි ගාථා පාඩම් වෙන්නේ. ඊට පස්සේ තේරුම. ඒක තේරුම ඕගලන්ට තේරෙනව නේද? ඔය තියෙන තේරුම තේරෙනවද? ගෙදර ගිහිල්ලා අම්මලාගෙන් අහන්න ඕනේ ඔකේ තේරුම මොකක්ද කියලා. එහෙම අහගන්න ඕනේ. දැන් අපි පොඩි විවේකයක් ගමු නේද? වොෂ්රූම් යන කට්ටිය ගිහිල්ලා එන්නකෝ. ඔව් පුළුවන්. ගිහිල්ලා එන්න. වතුර බීලා වොෂ්රූම් ගිහිල්ලා එන්නකෝ. අපි එහෙනම් ජාතක කතාවකුත් ඉගෙන ගනිමු නේද? බුදුරජාණන් වහන්සේගේ පෙර ජීවිතයක කතාවක්. හොඳයි. එහෙනම් ඔන්න ශබ්ද කරන්නේ නැතුව අහගන්න. හරි.
Finding a new spring. Once upon a time, a certain tradesman was leading a caravan to another country to sell his goods. Along the way, they came to the edge of a severe hot sand desert. They asked about and found that during the daytime, the sun heats up the fine sand until it's as hot as charcoal. So no one can walk on it, not even bullocks or camels. So the caravan leader hired a desert guide, one who could follow the stars so they could travel only at night when the sand cools down. They began the dangerous nighttime journey across the desert. A couple nights later, after eating their evening meal and waiting for the sand to cool, they started out again. Later that night, the desert guide, who was driving the first car, saw from the stars that they were getting close to the other side of the desert. He had also overeaten, so that when he relaxed, he dozed off to sleep. Then the bullocks, who, of course, couldn't tell directions by reading the stars, gradually turned to the side and went in a big wide circle until they ended up at the same place they had started from. By then it was morning, and the people realized they were back at the same spot they camped at the day before. They lost heart and began to cry about their condition. Since the desert crossing was supposed to be over by now, they had no more water and were afraid they would die of thirst. They even began to blame the caravan leader and the desert guide. We can do nothing without water, they complained. Then the tradesman thought to himself, if I lose courage now, in the middle of this disastrous situation, my leadership has no meaning. If I fall to weeping and regretting this misfortune and do nothing, all thought, without water, no plant could live in this desert. So he called over the most energetic of his fellow travelers and asked them to dig up the ground on that very spot. They dug, and after a while, they got down to a large stone. Seeing it, they stopped and began to blame the leader again, saying, "This effort is useless. We're just wasting our time." But the tradesman replied, "No, no, my friends. If we give up the effort, we will all be ruined and our poor animals will die. Let us be encouraged." As he said this, he got down into the hole, put his ear to the stone, and heard the sound of flowing water. Immediately he called over a boy who had been digging and said, "If you give up, we will all perish. So take this heavy hammer and strike the rock." The boy lifted the hammer over his head and hit the rock as hard as he could. And he himself was the most surprised when this rock split into two and a mighty flow of water gushed out from under it. Suddenly, all the people were overjoyed. They drank and bathed and washed the animals and cooked their food and ate. Before they left, they raised a high banner so that other travelers could see it from afar and come to the new spring in the middle of the hot sand desert. Then they continued on safely to the end of their journey. The moral is, don't give up too easily. Keep on trying until you reach the goal.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. හරි. සුපන්තියා, සුපන්තියා, සුපන්තියා. තේරුණා නේද? වීරිය කරන්න ඕනි නේද? කම්මැලි වෙලා බෑ. අතහැරලා බෑ. ඒ නිසා වීරිය කරොත් එහෙම අපි යන ඉලක්කය කරා අපිට යන්න පුළුවන් නේද? අපේ ටාගට් එක කරා අපිට යන්නට පුළුවන්කම තියෙනවා. ඒ නිසා වීරිය කරන්න කියන එකයි ඒ ජාතක කතාවෙන් අපිට දුන්න අවවාදය. එහෙනම් අද අපි වැඩසටහන නිමා කරමු. ඔයගොල්ලන් ඔය දෙන ජාතක කතාව මතක තියාගන්න. ඊළඟට ජාතක කතාවෙන් දෙන අවවාදය උපදේශය මතක තියාගන්න ඕනි. ඊළඟට ගාථාවල තේරුම දන්නේ නැත්නම් ඒක තව පැහැදිලි වෙනවා නම් චූටි අය අම්මගෙන් තාත්තගෙන් ගිහිල්ලා අහගන්න ඕනි. ඊට පස්සේ මේ ගාථාව පාඩම් කරන්න, කතා මතක තියාගන්න, ගෙදරදී සිහිය පවත්වන එක දිගටම කරගෙන යන්න. අද ඔයගලන් කෑම මොනවද තියෙන්නේ? කෑම කන අතරෙම කෑම පිළිබඳව සිහියත් කරන ගමන් මේක බලන ගමන්ම කෑම ටික කන්න. එතකොට වෙලාව ඉතුරු කරගන්නත් පුළුවන්. මේක බලන්න හැබැයි සිහියෙන් කෑම කන්න.
Brushing teeth is another useful activity to practice mindfulness. We do this every day, however, most of the time we brush our teeth out of habit without paying much attention to the task. In this short video, we will look at how we can use this little daily activity to practice mindfulness. When you choose your toothbrush, select one with a comfortable and suitable bristle. It's also advisable to use a brush with a small head that can fit horizontally behind the lower teeth. The size and the shape of the brush should fit your mouth comfortably, allowing you to reach all areas easily. It need not be the most expensive one. Many years, months and months struggle using bits of herbal plants that contain antibacterial properties which are very effective. Before you start brushing, check where your mind is. Are you here and now or lost in your thoughts? Bring your attention to your body. Notice how your mouth feels before brushing your teeth. When you start brushing, be aware of each action and observe the sensations. Do not forget S and S. That is to do things slowly, mindfully and silently. Take your toothbrush mindfully and see how you feel as you hold it. Get the toothpaste and squeeze out the correct amount onto your brush. Most of the time, if you are not mindful, you may use more than you need. Adults need a pea-sized flow. Children a smaller amount than that. Now focus on the present moment. What can you see? Note the color of the toothpaste. Do you smell the toothpaste? Gently start brushing. When you are brushing the outer surface of your teeth, notice how you tilt the brush at a 45-degree angle against the gum line. Be aware of how you brush in a small, gentle circular motion across your teeth. Notice how you move the brush to the adjoining teeth and continue the process gradually to the back of the mouth. You may also notice the smell and the flavor of the toothpaste. Be mindful of your arm moving from side to side. Feel the bristles against your gum and against your teeth. You don't need to think too much. It's more a case of being in the present moment, noticing all the actions and sensations. Continue to be fully focused with the process of brushing. Whenever you feel your mind is wandering, gently bring your attention back. While you are brushing, remember to listen to the sound of brushing. Be aware of the actions and sensations as you clean the inside of your teeth in a similar process. Notice how you tilt the brush and clean your front teeth in small circular motions and sweeping actions. Note the backwards and forwards movement as you clean the biting surface of your teeth. Then mindfully clean the lower teeth. As you gently brush your tongue and the roof of your mouth, note the difference in sensations, softness and hardness. Make sure you are not battling with the brush at any stage in this process. Be mindful. Do not brush too hard. Be gentle. If you find your mind drifting to thoughts or worries of the day, accept it and gently bring your attention back to the process of brushing. Don't judge the fact that your mind drifted. It's okay. It happens to all of us. The key here is to get glimpses of mindfulness initially. Over time, with regular practice, your ability to focus for longer on the process will improve. When you have finished brushing and start rinsing the mouth, continue to observe the actions and sensations. What do you feel? Is the water warm or cold? Be aware of your rinsing your mouth. Notice how your mouth feels after brushing your teeth. When you continue to practice in this manner, you might even enjoy brushing your teeth every morning and night. This practice will not only help you to clean your teeth properly, but it will also help you to be mindful during other daily activities. Mindfulness is one of those things as you continue to practice that becomes more and more a part of your overall state of being. So instead of having to go back to being mindful all the time, it will become more a norm in your day-to-day life.
Now we can do another daily activity, taking our food mindfully. We believe that you already have a general idea about mindfulness. Being mindful means paying attention to what we are doing and doing it wholeheartedly. This is also called appamada or being diligent. We normally take at least 3 meals a day. However, due to demanding daily schedule and poor time management, it has become evident that more and more people are paying less and less attention to how they take their meals. With some, it has become a habit to watch television, carry on conversation, or engage in other activities while eating. Due to this, important factors such as what we eat, how much we eat, or at what time we eat are getting neglected. As time goes by, these poor habits may cause adverse effects on For example, this may result in increasing the likelihood of facing health concerns, lifestyle imbalances, and psychological stresses. Let us consider how we can take our daily meals mindfully. As a good habit, we must remember to always clean our hands before we touch any food. We must practice washing our hands slowly and mindfully. First, let us see how we normally take our food.
There are carrots, chocolates, and cucumbers on this plate. Let's eat these one at a time. But remember, with chocolates and sweet stuff, moderation is best. Too many sweets are not good for our health. This helps. Whoa, looks like you've already eaten your chocolate. What did it taste like?
I really can't remember. I think I ate too fast.
That's how we eat most of the time. We don't remember what we ate and what it tasted like. I'd like to know what you guys had for dinner last night.
I can't remember. Wait. No, I can't remember. I think we had some rice with some vegetables. Or was that the night before? Maybe last night was cream puffers. I can't remember. My mum would know. I can't remember either.
If you're not paying attention when taking food, we may miss out on important information. Firstly, we may not have enough awareness of what sort of food we are taking or how much we should serve ourselves. Secondly, there's a chance that we will swallow our food without chewing properly. Thirdly, we may not notice the sensation arising while eating. Sometimes there's also the risk of choking or food going down the wrong way. Now let us see how we can overcome this lack of awareness when taking our food. This time we are going to take food a little differently. That is, we will use SMS, which means we will eat slowly, mindfully and silently. Also, we will treat our food as if we have never seen, eaten or tasted it before.
Here you go. Take another piece of food. Except this time, don't eat it straight away. Leave it on your plate, and let's take a moment to sit comfortably and observe our posture. We can easily make this a habit. Okay, now observe our food. What does it look like? Is it the same color the whole way through? Does it have a little shadow? Okay, now pick up your piece of food. What does it feel like? Now slowly place it on your palm. Place it on your palm. Is it heavy? Do you feel its weight?
This piece of chocolate is in brown color. It looks like it is already melting in my hand. This piece of carrot is, well, orange. It feels hard. This piece of cucumber is very interesting. It is green and a bit rough on the outside, but the inside is soft and bitter.
Good. Now bring a piece of food up to your nose. What does it smell like?
This piece of cucumber has a smell that it's hard to describe. This is a nice chocolate smell, but I have never felt a chocolate smell like this before.
Now slowly bring your piece of food to your tongue. Notice what it tastes like, but don't eat it yet. Now slowly start munching your piece of food. Notice the sounds and the taste. Now slowly start to swallow your food. Note all the different sensations. Can you describe what it felt like?
The outside of the cucumber felt a little bit hard to bite, but the inside was soft. At first, it felt cool and tasted a little sour, but as I munched on further, it tasted creamy and the sour taste went away. That piece of chocolate tasted way better than ever before. The carrot felt hard at the beginning and made a crunching sound in my mouth. As I kept munching, it became creamy. I have never noticed this when eating carrot before.
Now, what do you think?
Wow, it was a very different experience. It is like something I've never eaten before. Eating slowly and mindfully is better. It was really a different experience right from the beginning. I felt my mind settling down, becoming calmer.
I've heard there are multiple benefits to eating mindfully and slowly.
Oh really? What are they?
The practice and value of mindful eating have been known for centuries. This valuable practice has not only helped many to further develop mindfulness, but also assisted in leading a healthy and balanced life. If you practice mindful eating, you too could reap the same benefit.
We'd like to learn more about mindful eating.
From the moment we start washing our hand before a meal, we must determine to act slowly, mindfully, and silently. This will help us to be aware of our action and to note the sensation that we may encounter. It may seem a little hard at first, but with regular practice, it will become easy. It is a valuable habit to be mindful when serving food. This will help you to focus on what you are serving and how much you are serving. We have heard that regular intake of certain type of food and eating quantities that do not suit your lifestyle may be harmful to our health. From the beginning to the end of taking food, it is important to be aware of your posture, etiquette, and mannerism. Doing so also helps you to be mindful in that moment. Becoming aware that I am now here is a good way to start every time you sit down to eat. Think a moment. The food we eat reaches us with the assistance of a lot of people. From the farmer who grew the crops to our parents or those who prepared the food, there are a lot of people who contributed along the way. You could spend a moment spreading the feeling of well-being towards all those who were involved in bringing your food to you. Next, when you are eating slowly, mindfully, and silently, you will be able to notice the color, smell, shape, roughness or smoothness, hotness or coldness of the food on your plate. When you bring food closer to your mouth, or chew, or swallow, you will be able to draw your attention to the sensation that arises. Then you will be able to identify different flavors. You could practice chewing every morsel of food you put into your mouth or drinking it slowly if it is a liquid. Finally, another important reminder. It is not recommended to remain seated for a long period or engage in heavy work immediately after a main meal. It is best if you can engage in some activity which will promote the digestion of food. If you can practice mindful walking for about 30 minutes after a meal, it will contribute immensely towards proper digestion of food, physical well-being as well as in enhancing your mindfulness. When you practice mindful eating in this manner, the mindfulness that has developed will spread effortlessly to the other activities in your day-to-day life.
Today we learned a lot about how mindful eating helps us to lead a healthier lifestyle.
From today, I resolved to be more mindful when taking food. I want to practice that too. Me too, me too. I also want to be more mindful when eating food.
හරි කවුරු සාදුකාරයක් දෙන්නකෝ. හොඳයි. දැන් අද අපි ධම්මපද ගාථා ඉගෙන ගත්තා. ඒ වගේම ධම්මපදයේ ගාථාවට අදාළ කතාව ඉගෙන ගත්තා. ජාතක කතාවක් ඉගෙන ගත්තා. නේද? සිල් සමාදන් වුණා. සිහිය පිහිටුවන්නට අපි ආනාපාන සති භාවනාව කරා. ඊට පස්සේ මේ කරගත්ත සියලුම කුසල් බලය පින්වත් දුවලා පුතාලා හැම දිනාටම නිදුක් නිරෝගී සුවපත් භාවය දිගාසිරි සම්පත් ඇතුව හොඳට ඉගෙනගෙන හොඳ යහපත් දූ දරුවන් විදිහට ගත කරන්නට කායික මානසික සුවපත් භාවය සැලසේවා. කාය පීඩා චිත්ත පීඩා නොවේවා. කල්යාණ මිත්‍ර සත්පුරුෂ ඇසුරේම පාරමී ගුණ ධම් මුදුන් පමුණවාගෙන මේ ජීවිතයේ වාසනාවන්ත වේවා. පරලෝ ජීවිත සුගතිගාමී වේවා. සියලු දුකෙන් අත මිදෙන්නට ලැබේවා කියලා අපි ආශිර්වාද ප්‍රාර්ථනා සිදු කරනවා. අභිවාදන සීලිස්ස නිච්ඡං වද්ධාපචායිනෝ චත්තාරෝ ධම්මා වඩ්ඩන්ති ආයුවන්නෝ සුඛං බලං ආයුරාරෝග්‍ය සම්පatti සග්ග සම්පatti මේවච අතෝ නිබ්බාන සම්පatti ඉමිනාතේ සමිජ්ජතු. සුවපත්